Hey, welcome everybody to Drone Therapy. And my phone is ringing, and I'm hoping somebody will pick it up because I'm not going to. Season 4, Episode 5, DJI OSMO Action 101. And first off, I'm going to say, Ethan, what did you think of the intro?
I liked it. It was good.
Well, what was it you said, John? It was like SpongeBob.
Yeah, I think what I specifically said was it was SpongeBob meets God, I'm trying to remember what I said because it's got like that SpongeBob vibe, the music, right? A little bit.
I thought it was very bubbly, very bubbly.
Yes, Down East homeboy TM, glad to see you here. Jody, good to see you. And he's hollering at you too, John. And I'm sure he's going to holler at you too, Ethan. And none other than the grumpy vlogger, Lloyd, one of the first in the house. Thank you very much, sir, for coming in. First off, I was talking to Sean. I want to make sure, let me look in the group to make sure, and I don't say, I want to make sure it's Sean, is it Hickey? Hickey, like the hickey on your neck? Nope, maybe.
Oh, I found it. Yes, SpongeBob meets HGTV meets drone therapy.
Cool. So Sean Hickey actually got a favorable report in a Michigan court about I don't know, what was it? The local park was not going to allow them to overfly the park. I don't know. It's kind of, if you listen to the film, I'm like, and here's my question. I had asked the guys earlier what the question was I thought that the new restructuring bill that they had done with the FAA allowed local municipalities to make their local drone ordinances. And they said that they weren't sure. So anybody that might know at this point in time, if you could kind of throw it in there, I'd be very grateful for that. Let me get this worked up to where I can share it. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Let me go back. Got more people in the house. Let's see. AZ Drone Dude, good to see you. Courtney, Mermaid Clover. And I talked to that guy at Jim, if you're in the house, James Boyd, if you're in the house, Courtney would love to get with you and film sometime with your drone underwater. And she's a mermaid, and you got a drone that films underwater, and that sounds something interesting there. So we're all doing good there. Glad to see you again, like I said. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to try to get this wound up. Guys, you got anything in the drone world that you want to talk about? Drone? Didn't you have some new little, what about the Armatron drone? Since we have been away from FPV for a little while. So you guys take on FPV while I get this racked up.
Yeah, so I was looking at that Armatan tadpole. It looks like a really cool little drone. Have you seen that, Ethan, the tadpole? What do you think of it?
I think it'd be really neat if, especially if you get a decent flight controller and some nice motors. I haven't had really good luck with like 2-inch and 2.5-inch quads, just because I think it's more so the setups that I've built I haven't had good luck with. Then, it's not saying that 2 inches aren't any good, but the 3-inch that I just built has been freaking awesome. I've probably fly that more than my 5 and 6-inch drones now, just because it's quiet. It flies for like 6 minutes, and it has a lot of the same characteristics of a 5-inch. And if I want to, it will still carry the GoPro. It still won't do the acrobatics like the 5 inches will with a GoPro, but it'll still carry it nevertheless. So, but I think that 2.5-inch, especially if you get the right, motor combination with a good flight controller, I think that'd be really nice.
Well, you can get it pretty much ready to fly from Armatan with a great flight controller, all good components. It's only like 200, 220, 230 after, you choose whatever receiver you want. And, I've been flying my Tiny Hawk Freestyle for a while, and I really like how that form factor flies. Emacs did a really great job with the tune. And, I love Armatan. I've got my Chameleon. I built that last year, the 5-inch. This just seems to be like, Armatan's answer to the whole 2.5-inch, micro world. So, and they're selling like hotcakes. They're really, really hard to get.
It looks awesome. We'll get back to that in just a second. Let's get this ready and see if I can get it up. There we go. Okay, so he's about to tell us. Hopefully the audio will come through StreamYard. Hopefully that's an update. What, baby? Hang on, my daughter's here. Continue FPV. What? Oh,
But
what?
I went flying around with that 3-inch the other day, and I actually flew underneath my truck with the.
Come here for a minute. You say
It
hi.
was really cool. I've never seen people
Can
do
you
it.
wave? Lean over.
Yeah. So like,
Can you see? Look at the light. You see
especially
the
at
light?
park areas
See
and
the light?
stuff,
Oh.
where you want to go like
Mommy.
I flew the Tiny Hawk Freestyle through the holes in like a volleyball net. And I was thinking to myself, I'd never be able to do that with like a 5-inch.
Right.
There's so many little places that you can go that you can't, and it flies so long. You were talking about the longer flight times, like the Tiny Hawk Freestyle runs on 2-cell batteries. Okay, so I tend to get like a 5 to 6 minute flight time, really like a good long cruise time.
Right.
All right, I'm ready to go now. I'm gonna maximize. We'll maximize Sean, and he's got some interesting news. Please, I hope it comes through. I hope the audio comes through good. So, bam!
A victory for the hobby. The results for Michigan are in, and it's great news. Stay tuned for an update interview with Jason Harrison.
Geeksvana is your drone channel.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Geeksvana. My name is Sean. Regular viewers will remember the case of Jason Harrison, who was arrested and detained for flying his drone in a Genesee County park. In fact, the arresting officers from Park Police managed to record themselves discussing the event. Here's a quick reminder of what they captured.
We got YouTube, the camera. Oh. Somebody wants to put his drone in. Yeah, he wanted to argue about it. So we're taking his stuff. Well, you know what I'd do with him? Jail. I'd write him a ticket, take his ass to jail, and release him down there. Yep. That's what I'd do. Yep. Okay. Because there's rules to follow. Yep.
You can watch the full original interview via a link in the description. The issue surrounded whether or not it was legal to fly drones within the Genesee Park system, and whether local regulations could ever be over federal regulations, with the airspace controlled by the FAA. Since the arrest, Jason and other drone flyers experienced more issues with Parks Police, which sparked them to take legal action to see the FAA federal and state level regulations that a local municipality cannot set their own drone laws upheld. Let's get into my chat with Jason for the update. Welcome back to Geeksvana. Thank you for taking the time to update our audience on the situation in Michigan. I understand you've had some good news.
Yes, we do. Finally received the court order from the judge's official opinion, and we won. So victory.
Yay, fantastic. You cannot be stopped flying drones in the park. But also that the FAA regulations must be, or rather the federal regulations must be adhered to. So it's a pretty categoric statement from him to put the whole thing to rest, really.
Yes, and I mean not just a victory, but a total, complete victory.
Exactly.
We got everything we asked for.
You clearly had some effective legal counsel on this. The whole strategy just seems to have run so perfectly. The entire case seems to have been managed extremely effectively.
Extremely effectively is probably an understatement. Legal counsel is really key to how this.
Okay, so we will zoom ahead and resume.
Yourself continuing to work on behalf of the drone community and using not necessarily the platform, but using this position to be able to get more of a positive message out there.
Yes, absolutely. So we formed this nonprofit, and we didn't make it just to do this one court case.
Okay,
our goal, we kind of.
All right, I got to come back in for a second. Did anybody see Rigger's test stream today? Did anybody see? If you get a chance, go over to his channel and watch it. You didn't take it down, did you? Please tell me you didn't take it down. That was cool as hell, because I was trying to figure out what kind. Y'all tell me what kind of mask that is. What mask is that? What mask is that? It's not. That's not steampunk. That's something else. So anyway, sorry. Back to the show. Sorry. I had a brain fart.
I'm just confused. I'm like,
after some other nonprofits that work on other issues in the state, like much more important civil rights issues actually in the state.
Yes,
but we modeled it after that, and I certainly don't think that drones are on the level of civil rights or whatever. But we kind of copied the model so that we can do multiple things. Like now, I see down the road, if another municipality tries to tries to pass a law like this, or there's some municipalities that have them. They try to enforce it and they issue a citation. Now I feel like we have a whole bunch of people and a whole system in place that's really good at fighting this thing, so we can really help that person out.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Also, we work in Lansing, which is our state capital, to try and keep new regulations at bay. And we were successful, as a matter of fact. There was an island, Mackinac Island is a very popular tourist destination.
Indeed.
And they tried to ban drones for the whole island. And one of our representatives was able to give testimony and work on that. And in the end, we won that issue too. So.
Here is the conclusion issued by the judge. For the foregoing reasons, this court prohibits the enforcement of any ban on possession, use, or operation of drones on Robert Harrison or other members of the public by the Genesee County Parks Commission and any of its agents, representatives, rangers, members, officers, directors, and employees that is inconsistent with the dictates of state and federal law. There you have it. A fantastic victory for the drone hobby. Jason and all at the Michigan Coalition of Drone Operators should be thanked for their work in gaining this important judgment. It's this kind of victory which will keep our hobby alive and inspire others to protect the rights which we already have. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
Bam! Well, there's strike one for the good guys. Finally. Hey, Mike, did you see we were just talking about that? That's actually something good, but the thing about it is we really need him to appeal and the appellate court to uphold it, because then we have something we can pass along. But right now it's just in that municipality, and it's, as you saw from the ruling, it's just those area parks.
Right, and it's just in Michigan, right? But like he was saying, though, this is a really this holds a lot of weight. What just happened there? Okay, it would hold weight if it went to court in another state for a similar thing. They might look at it and say, well, you know, it really looks like this judge saw something here.
Yeah, I'm really curious how this is going to hold up in different areas, because like in my area in Baltimore, there are no regulations about it. We never get hassled by police. You know, I have more people come up to me and, you know, that are interested in it than anything. And I've never been hassled at all. But when we went out to Scottsdale, Arizona, there were signs everywhere. And, you know, even out in the country where there wasn't even, you know, national parks or even close to airports, but there were just signs everywhere saying no drones. But it's kind of like how they can't regulate that space.
No, it's interesting that you mentioned Arizona, because I was talking with somebody the other day, because one of the towns that I live in or live near, about 15 minutes away, I found out that they've banned drone flying and taking off inside the parks. They've banned it in the local parks. And somebody was telling me you should look at this case between the federal government and Arizona, where Arizona lost. So they actually took that to court and lost on some level with respect to that too. I told him, I said, you know, that's great and all. I'm like, I understand, but if I were to whip out a piece of paper to some officer that says, oh, actually, no, I can fly. Here's this case from Arizona. The officer's going to be like, it's from Arizona and you're in Missouri. Put your hands behind your back. You're arrested. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not going to work. And, you know, he's like, no, he's like, I understand that. He's like, this is a fight that we're going to have more and more across the whole country until something like this really does just go all the way. So like Bill said, I do hope that they appeal it so that some of these little towns and whatnot stop doing stuff like that. Like, oh my goodness, even the town that I'm in right now, okay, they passed an ordinance in 2015 that you can't fly higher than 120 feet. And they picked that because that's the height of the water tower. So they figured no helicopters or anything would hit the water tower. You know what a joke that is? When in most parts of the town, where even if we are in like the 5-mile radius of the airport, I can get 400-foot clearance through LANC. So the town's saying you can't fly higher than 120 feet, but LANC is saying you're good at 400 feet. So it's a mess. It's a mess. You know, these towns, they try to create these rules willy-nilly, and it's good to see that's being struck down, because because it makes trying to follow the rules as a drone owner almost impossible.
I know. It's actually what I find it extremely surprising about is that all these regulations and whatnot, people are making a big deal about it when these drones have a stellar safety record. And,
Yeah.
you know, the way people are reacting is like, you know, like you're killing people left and right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, playing baseball in a park, it might be more risky than flying a drone in a park. Okay, somebody could get beamed in the head with a baseball. All right. I mean, I know some people the baseball analogy is ridiculous, but it's just an example,
Sure.
right? Yet drones are being banned from parks mostly because people complain. Oh, you know, they're spying on me, spying on my kid. You know, come on, dude. Come on.
Right.
So that's really the only reason they end up getting banned. But you know, we're all, one thing to remember is we're all taxpayers, okay? And public parks are being paid for out of my tax money, out of you guys' tax money. So we should be able to go to these parks and just fly, you know, and not be hassled. It shouldn't be a problem, especially if we're flying not near any people or where there are or anything like that. You know, not over any events. If there's an event at the park or something like that, the FAA rules already provide for that. So it should be no reason to ban drones entirely from parks other than ridiculous fears or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. Or the fact that big business is stuffing money into the people that vote it that way, and they don't want us in the skies, which is pretty much what's going on. And we just don't have wallets big enough.
Well, sure, but I will say, oh, go ahead. Sorry, Ethan.
I was going to say, I think that's happening on a municipal level, though.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so you know what got some of the ridiculous drone rules in my area? Somebody in 2015 found like a crashed DJI Phantom or something on their property. They pulled the SD card, and long story short, like they said that they watched the footage and the camera went crazy and it crashed and it made a bad motor noise. And they claimed in the letter that could it have been an airplane motor? So they said, we need to do something about this. We need to create some rules. So the city council panicked and passed a whole bunch of little silly, stupid rules about it. Like that 120-foot rule. All because somebody wrote a frantic letter and saw something that probably didn't happen.
Yeah, all right. Now, we were talking about, we brought this up we bring it up every week. Please make sure that you formulate a proper and good comment. And I also noticed that it seems that Joshua Bardwell formulated and commented his remarks to the FAA about 4 hours ago. So if you haven't got a chance to check it out, check it out after the show. But right now, please remember to comment by March 2nd, I believe. And we're going to move on to the OSMO action like we were talking about. When I first got this, we were going to Great Wolf Lodge, and I was going to take it inside, and I wanted to film the big water drop, which I did. I got to do all that. But it was really, really grainy, you know, when it was slowed down, and I was even filming it in slow-mo. And then the guys pointed out to me, well, it's meant to shoot action, but it's meant to shoot action in high light. Now, I've never really gone in depth into learning what all the menus do and what all can be done with the OSMO action, because I'm going to admit it, I turned into a fanboy when I started hanging with Billy. It was not Billy's fault. He did not ever ask me to purchase a single DJI product. I just got stars in my eyes and started buying everything DJI. And I mean, it's really cool. It still works fantastic. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it around the room and let the gentlemen start with their ideas on the OSMO action. Ethan?
Oh, okay.
Okay, John. Either one.
Well, I think it's a great camera. My only gripe with it is that and I think it has to do with GoPro having the license on SuperView, is that I don't like where it won't do that wide angle and at 60 frames per second and 2.7K. And just so everybody knows, if anybody's familiar with SuperView on a GoPro, what that actually is, it's a 3x4 image that is stretched to a 16:9. So if you want to have the same effect with, you know, the Osmo Action, or if you're using an Insta360 1R, if you film in 4:3, you can stretch that in post, and that'll give you the same effect as a super view as what the GoPro is doing. The only problem is these cameras do not film in 60 frames per second at 2.7K and 3.4. So I think GoPro's got a license on it. What's up, Bill?
Oh, I was just waving to everybody that was coming in, and that's like when you all are on a good subject on a roll. But I'll go back in and shout everybody out. As we seen a little while ago, we have Mike Roche Media came in. Good to see you. Yeah, guys saying you're spying on your way. Yeah, exactly. And then it's like you have to explain to everybody, you know, look, if you look, you can't see their license plate. I can't see anybody's window, but I can get a really beautiful sunset. Oh man, it's already gone. Never mind.
Well, and on that, legally, if you're in the public domain, you have no privacy.
Correct.
And Metro Drones, good to see you in the house. Riga, like I said earlier, was talking about your unique live stream test. I just want to say that. Paul Murray, glad to see you, sir. Every Monday, is it every night, or is it just every Monday night? Go by and check out, and I'm not going to do it, the Paul Murray Show, where Paul brings in various guests, and sometimes they talk about drones, sometimes they talk about coffee, sometimes they talk about life in general. Be sure to go over and check out his. Yes. Glad to see the godfather of morning drone chat, Roger, Canadian Drone Hub in the house. Glad to see you, sir.
What's up, Roger?
And we saw Jody was in here, and he's saying hi to Jim. Jim is in here. Courtney, if you're lurking, Frank, if you're lurking, Jim is your man above and beyond right here. Evening boys would love to get with the mermaid and play with his dory underwater. Okay.
Very cool.
And then back to like okay, another thing that flipped me out. I thought it was really cool that you could do the front camera thing, and I was so excited about turning it on and playing with it that I didn't know that you could just tap the little button on the side and flip it back and forth
right
for about 2 or 3 months.
So I don't know if there are tricks, but I can talk about using this as a head cam if you want to do like drone flight reviews. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about that. So if you're going to do a head cam review, the first thing I would say is don't use the Rocksteady. Now you might think
Sean's in the house. I thought it was like going to be 1 a.m. before. Oh, look at this. Before Bill busts the barnacle. Wait a minute. Are you comparing me to Mr. Krabs? All right, you took it.
Don, great interview, man. Great.
All right,
interview.
all right. Go.
I forgot what was I on?
We were talking about FPV and stuff and
head cam.
I was on about using it as a head cam if you're going to do a flight review of a drone that you own, line of sight style. So you might think that using the Rocksteady is a good idea. I would have to disagree on that. I've noticed that the Rocksteady really crops a lot. It does a lot of cropping. And when I did a few reviews and I thought I had my hands in the shot or I thought I had the camera centered, it really messes with the footage. So I did not like using Rocksteady. So don't use it, even though you might think, oh, it'll keep it from having vibrations if my head is bobbling. You're a lot better off just trying to keep your head straight, and so your footage doesn't look strange. But Rocksteady is absolutely great if you're going to mount this on a drone or even an RC truck. I put this on a truck, and it's just unbelievable. But back to using it on your head. So the other thing is, the Nemo app is your friend if you are doing like a review and you want to make sure that things are in shot. Because every time you take it off your head, you can't really check it easily. But you can easily do those adjustments with that DJI Nemo app and get that live view to know that when you put your hands out in front, the controller will be visible, and the buttons you press, the people will be able to see all of that. There's another thing too. For your head cam mount, if you're someone like me that likes to take their camera in and out of the head cam mount, use a ruler to like take a measurement of the angle that you have it on, so you can just pretty much put it back and your angle is good. Like I used to pretty much leave my GoPro locked up all the time in its little holder. If I have to take it out, I just take a quick measurement so that way I know when I put it back, it's pretty much going to be good to go. Once you find your general angle for where you tend to keep your hands and how you look around, you want to keep that. I'm trying to think what else. So, yeah, I guess 4K at 60 is not absolutely needed if you're doing a review, but I do like how it looks. I try to film 4K at 60 just because I have the internet speed and the ability to edit it and all that. But yeah, creates huge files, so get a big SD card.
I got some tips on the Hypersmooth, or actually, I'm sorry, Rocksteady. So if you're going to be filming in low light or indoors at all, you're going to want to slow it down to 30 or 24 frames a second and turn off Rocksteady if you can. Put it on a gimbal and set a manual technique, manual shutter speed, manual ISO that way. Because here's the problem with Hypersmooth on the GoPros, Rocksteady on this guy, is that what they're doing, they rely on high shutter speed. And what that does, that's going to give you a very clean image, motion free, like motion blur free image from frame to frame. And the software can then easily make new frames that are stabilized. So that's why when you go into low light and it's got to have the shutter speed cranked up, it lowers the shutter speed and then its stabilization goes to crap. So.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So now I know what I did wrong. Basically, if I could have gotten a little bit better picture if I'd lowered it to like 24 frames a second.
And turn off Hypersmooth.
Well, there's been no way because it was like my grandson was like this.
Yeah, the Hypersmooth is going to override the shutter speed and kind of jack it up. And then your exposure goes out the window inside.
There's another thing we were talking about last week a little bit. I think in the after show, we talked about the quality and how, honestly, if you're trying to get like really close up shots of something, the cameras, like action cameras, just kind of general thing, honestly, it's not as good for that. And what's interesting is I noticed that the GoPro, the Hero 4 at least, seems to do a little bit better with things that are closer to you than this Osmo Action. I mean, just barely, marginally. I've noticed that, where like I'll be able to read text on some little drone that I'm holding in my hand right out in front of me, just about here on the GoPro, but I can't necessarily see that text with the Osmo Action. So, I think that the focus is definitely more tuned to for stuff that's farther away. It looks awesome if you're flying out there and you're just getting a video, but for stuff up close, you just don't do that with this thing. Keep some distance.
And you can't take pictures just by going click.
Right.
No, you can't do that either.
Because I was like, well, you got to have it on a tripod and like a timer or something, because it's not meant to take still pictures.
Right.
At least not that I've noticed. At least y'all knows. Does anybody know a trick how to make it take still pictures that aren't blurry as shit? Or blurry as yeah.
Have you noticed that when if you have this on an FPV drone and you're doing a snap roll, that there's there's a delay in the stabilization?
So unfortunately, I have not put it yet on an FPV drone, but I did put it on the truck, the RC truck, and yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. I have noticed that.
So when I fly with this looks great. The image quality out of this thing is awesome, and it's really good for like if you're just say if you're flying FPV and you're just cruising around. This thing does a great job, but if you're doing a lot of snaps, the roll axis seems to be challenging for all these cameras when you're using stabilization. But the GoPro Hero 7 and the 8 tend to do the best with it.
Interesting.
Actually, the Insta 1R does awesome stabilization. It's almost like real steady go. It's that good.
I mean, here's so with the truck, it's kind of bouncing around a whole lot. But there were these points that I was just wondering, like in the video, especially when it was extremely bouncing. I was kind of like wondering, you know, what's going on here? How come this part looks a little more stable than this part? So I mean, I don't know if that's in relation to what you're talking about. How I guess if it rolls per se a little bit more to the left or the right, it's not as good.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with it's trying to keep that axis flatter, and if you rotate faster than what it's designed to compensate for, it'll have that like jerk to it.
Yeah, right. And when I was out there with the FPV truck, if I was just straight down the street and didn't have a whole lot of bumpy terrain, it looked a lot better. Even though it was vibrating on that truck, it was a lot better. But once I hit some of that bumpy terrain, moving it to the left and hard to the right, it definitely wasn't as smooth as it could be. Still super impressive though. I mean, right. We're talking this is a freaking truck just bouncing around all over the place. So
here's a good tip that's going to save you guys money. And this goes for any action camera that's using stabilization. Don't waste your money on ND filters. Now you can buy polarizers. Polarizers will be fine as long as they don't have any ND to them. But don't waste your money on ND filters. Like I said, if you're using stabilization, it needs to have that high shutter speed. Higher the better. So the more light you can let into the camera to get that higher shutter speed, it's going to have better stabilization. Now, granted, you're going to lose your motion blur, but actually note on that Insta360 in the app, you can add motion blur back in. Which is, I think a lot of their cameras are going to start doing that because they can do so much better processing with that really sharp, crisp frame that you're going to get from a high shutter speed. Now, if you really dead set on using ND filters, you're going to have to like tripod mount the camera and set a manual technique, using 24 frames a second, that kind of thing, without the stabilization on.
Very cool. So I tell you what, I'm actually kind of worried to put this on any of my FPV drones, especially after your experience, Ethan, because I know you put it on one of yours and in a very tame crash, so to speak, it broke, right?
Yeah, that was the original. That was the original one that I got. And I think it might have been an early production one because this is the one that they sent me after that. And I've crashed it a lot and I haven't had a problem with it.
Oh, you haven't had a problem. Okay, I was wondering about that. I wanted to know if that's been a problem. So that's kind of good to hear.
Oh, it's been ejected on concrete. It's definitely taken way harder hits than that first one did.
Oh, okay. See, mine's actually been knocked around a little bit too. I kind of let go of it, so to speak, going down a water slide. So that wasn't too good, but it survived, and I was pretty impressed at the time. That happened over the summer. Also, I'll tell you what, people who say that this front screen is a gimmick, go to a water park and tell me that it's a gimmick.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
Go ahead, you tell me that that's not useful.
Every action camera from here on out needs to have one of these. That's why the Insta360 1R, that thing's got it, and that I use it all the time.
Yeah, it's really nice, and even just for like filming yourself in a park, if you want to like talk, if you want to like know that you're on cam, it's super valuable. I don't know.
Yeah, why you're going to need an external cam or an external mic, right, to get decent audio.
Well, I think that's with any of them.
Even the 8.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't use a mic for any of these things. I wear a lav and like go to an external recorder. That's going to be so much better quality than any of these things are going to be able to do.
Yeah, well, hey, at least they do have the external mic module for it now, so that is good. But I will say this, compared to any of the other action cameras that I own, the Osmo Action with wind noise disabled is probably one of the most passable action camera microphones, at least in my opinion, that I've ever used. I mean, it's still not as good as having a lav mic, but it's not so horrible that it's unusable for at least certain things. At least in my opinion, anyway.
Okay, Roger's hitting the sack. Rick Halbert came in. Good to see you. Johnny Drone Flyer, Mark DeMarco, FSU Grad 03's in the house. Again, Paul's here. I don't think that Grumpy's come back yet. Maybe come back yet. So good, so good. And Ethan saying hi to everybody. All right. Let's see. Okay, so here's an alternative thing. My grandson and like our family is going to California in April on spring break week because my oldest son doesn't want my grandson to miss any days of school. So we're taking the family truckster to Disneyland, Universal Studios, and then we're going to drive down and see Steve Carpenter too and fly drones down there. So that's going to be a unique trick. So what I'm trying to think is Steve gave up his Skydio to Sean Oz so that they could all go skiing. So I'm going to take my Skydio 2, and he has a Mavic Pro, but I've got like the Mavic, although I think it's going to be really hard to try to take the Phantom 4 on a plane. So it'd probably be better to I could take 2 drones because I'm taking my son with us too. So I could take like the Mavic Mini, or I could take the Mavic 2 Pro.
I mean, you could take that Phantom, just you would have to pay for it. That would be like an additional check bag, basically. That's what would suck. Because there's no way.
I'd have to carry the batteries though with me. And
yeah, you'd have to carry the batteries on.
I wouldn't want to do that though.
Didn't you say you had a Mavic?
Yeah.
Huh?
Don't you have a Mavic?
I could take, I've got the Mavic 2 Pro, but I've only got 1 battery, but I've got the Mavic Mini and I've got 3 batteries. I'm going to try to pick up another Skydio battery between now and then. Because, and since we're kind of bouncing around like we always do, Ethan's asked me some questions about the Skydio and I've been very honest. We will get back into them in a little bit. Okay, so it's got to be bright lights. It's got to be, especially if it's something heavy action, you got to be a lower frame rate. And if at all possible, mount it on a tripod. So I bet you even money if I could go, the next time I go back, if I just say, hey, I want to set up my tripod over here in my Osmo Action to film the water drop, I bet they'll let me if I ask. Especially if I ask ahead of time.
Oh, I had a comment about audio for you guys.
All right.
So with any of these action cameras, obviously the one with the best is going to be better. Get as close to it, try to get as close when you're talking to it, try to talk at one of the mics if you can. But if you guys do, there's also a program, free software called Audacity that you can do audio post-processing with. And there's a bunch of YouTube videos on that. And I'm willing to bet using that program and watching a few YouTube videos, you can make any of your audio sound awesome from that thing.
Oh, I'm answering something I saw earlier. Because they were saying Courtney was trying to figure out if I was going to Florida or if I was going to California. And I'm like, no, I live in Seattle, Courtney. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, so actually post-processing on audio is something I used to do all the time. Actually, I still do it now. So what's really funny is for the longest time, my GoPro, I was able to find this right angle adapter, an unofficial one, and the sound was amazing from it. It was perfect, and it was really lightweight and everything. But I could only get 1 channel to work. So every time I made a video with my GoPro, I would use the fill left with right in post to make it sound good. Right. Also, I do a lot of video in my garage at the moment. And I tell you what, the garage has some echo. With some of those post-processing tools, you can completely remove that. It's just unbelievable. It's like it's not barely even there. So yeah, you really can improve the sound coming from this stuff.
Oh yeah, I use Audacity on all my audio stuff. Actually, there was when the Mac had a first update to Catalina, Audacity wasn't compatible with it for about 2 months. So a few of my videos that went out that didn't get any processing from Audacity sounded like crap. But yeah, it works great. It does the noise reduction on that Audacity is awesome.
I'm gonna have to try it, see if it's better than Adobe's noise reduction, because Adobe's got their own noise filters, and I've kind of figured out how to get rid of that garage echo or noise in the background.
Rick, do you live? Wait a minute. I see something. Hang on. I'm sorry, guys, for slowing you down. But I can see Rick in the chat. Do you live near Steve or something? Because if you got a Skydio also, why don't you? We'll just work it out, and everybody could meet in April if your health is allowed.
That's really nice, Rick.
Good to see you, William, sir.
That's really nice of Rick. Wow.
But no, hey, shh. I can get another battery since it's the family vacation.
Oh,
you know what I mean. But yeah, that's maybe you should bring it with you, and we should all fly together. Oh, I am not shotgunning. It's still got. I still got half of this one.
I was going to say, speaking of San Fran, I'll be out there in less than a month.
Yeah, but how long? You gonna stay?
We'll see.
Yeah, that's what you said the last time. But see, I'm gonna be there in April. We booked flights today.
Oh, we'll be there. We'll be there into May.
Oh! You just screwed my whole trip because you're gonna be in San Francisco.
Well, Palo Alto.
Oh, dude. Okay, we're staying in Anaheim, so I can just be like, yay! So we're all gonna be partying with all kinds of drones. Oh, looky here, Rick's in Sacramento. Okay, I'm gonna. We got a hotel or motel, whatever. What is it, Disney Boulevard? So that's where we're gonna be staying for the whole week, and we'll be fanning out from there. I've got my oldest son and his family are coming up from San Diego to meet us. We're gonna go down to see Steve where he lives at. Rick, you're more than welcome to show up. Ethan, man, I know you're gonna have all your drones out there too. We could actually do a West Coast fly-in, man. Because the thing about it is Steve was telling me down there where he lives that there's tons of places to fly, and it's legal to fly on the beach.
Yeah, I've been on Google Maps, like looking at the satellite and just looking over the terrain, and I can't wait to get out there. I'm just hoping the job that we're taking doesn't work me to death, so I don't have any time off.
Oh yeah.
That's yet to be determined.
Yeah, but the thing about it is if the money gonna be worth it, then you say, okay, I'll work for you for 5 years, chuck up a bunch of cash, and then take a couple of years off, and you and the wife catch up on vacations that you missed.
Yeah, we'll see.
You know, like you said,
it's always tough to do in practice, though.
Oh yeah, I've gotten into the habit of making more per hour and working less. I really, really like that.
I think everybody likes that.
I'm really starting to cherish my time off.
Wait. As a person with health ailments, I would really like you to be available a little bit more so that I can keep walking upright.
Oh, yeah. That's what all you guys say. They want me there. They want me there scanning and taking pictures all the time.
I mean, there's the thing about it is I'll have to be, every time I've went to an MRI place, they've been super good with me. They've been super nice. The only thing that blows is sometimes that music just ain't loud enough.
Oh yeah,
because I mean it's like boom, 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 boom.
I tell all of the patients, I said it's not a Tempur-Posturepedic bed, and it's definitely not Bose headphones. So.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is it's that thing gets so loud sometimes it's not going to matter. Especially if you're when you're in between songs. Okay, sorry, got off track here. You know me, I kind of ramble off. But yeah, it sounds like that we have the potential to pull off a really. I'm going to meet him down there on Sunday, April 4th, I believe.
So do you think I could power loop the San Francisco Bridge? And have you guys?
Wait. Is it legal?
I don't know. And like you guys filming with your other drones to like the actual thing.
Oh God, you're gonna make it worse so we all go to jail at once. You never see the footage.
It's not illegal if you don't get caught, Bill. Come on, man.
In the morning where there's no traffic.
I think it's Saturday, April 4th.
You could do it early in the morning with minimal.
Let me make sure. I have to make sure. Anyway, sorry, I was rambling again. But anyway, let's just everybody go to California.
And power loop.
The first weekend of April, we're all going to meet at the San Francisco Bridge. Bring your drones. It's a party.
That's right.
All right.
Power
right.
loop that bridge and film
Before
it.
we get back on the subject, I have an announcement to make. After fierce negotiations, we can announce a continuation of DJI products and a return to FPV and old school AMA flying next week. Next week, old guy in a drone, and we're going to talk about the DJI FPV system and alternatives, and maybe what's the one that you were working with, Ethan? The smaller version that's been approved by DJI?
Oh, the Caddx Vista.
The Caddx Vista, which is basically what DJI FPV Lite.
Yeah, I actually think DJI should have released that in some way.
I know, it's really strange, right? That Caddx comes out of nowhere with full DJI grace and approval and makes something that everybody wanted from the start.
Right. I really think so. There must have been a purpose to that, or they are just a little out of touch with what the FPV pilots really want.
Yep. Or maybe the team only had so much of a budget to get something done, and that's what they ended up with.
Or what they could have had, they already had that designed for something else and just tweaked it a little bit to make it work with the FPV stuff.
Oh, did you see this? Here we go. Here it is. Here it is. You can go to the Bay Bridge, but no go on the Golden Gate. So actually, so go loop the Bay Bridge. We'll film it.
Yeah, I got a waterproof FPV drone, so we'll send her.
Well, it sounds like there's actually a lot of really cool places that we can fly at in that area. It would be really cool, but I got a rental vehicle for the Anaheim area. So if you're in the Anaheim area, pretty much for the entire week of April 3rd through the 10th, I think is when I'm going to be there. Yeah. So, but 2 of them days we're going to Disneyland on spring break. Right, it's going to be fun.
Have fun.
Oh yeah,
we're going to ride we're going to ride about 6 rides the first day and 4 the next.
You got those fast pass things in or whatever.
It's. You think it's actually going to be allowed on spring break week?
I don't know. I thought fast pass.
No. It says subject to availability and times. So basically, at any given moment, they can go no fast pass.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And the thing about it is and they do warn you, it's non-refundable. So you're rolling the dice, man.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. It's been
I didn't either until I started getting to buy the tickets and stuff. And I was like, holy cow. This was blowing my mind. What time is it over there, Sean? Isn't it like 1 in the morning? Or almost 2 in the morning?
Hey, Bill, why don't you in your free time this week, why don't you slip down to Alltel's headquarters and see what the holdup is?
You think they're going to tell me?
Well, I think you should just walk in and say, "Hey, what's the holdup?"
So wait a minute. Now, since I can't go, I don't have enough subscribers here, and it seems they're like melting away. I don't know. Somebody must be talking bad. Wait. Somebody must be talking bad about me again. Anyway, so I was just saying I could live stream it on Facebook to the group, and then I guess I could take the recorded video and upload it to here.
You can live stream it with your fancy new iPhone 11.
Yes, my iPhone 11 Pro Max. And like I said, I'm not. And you know why? Because I saw Ken Dono post that picture, that night mode photo, and I was like, oh. And then I was like, our phones, like the chargers are wearing out. They don't charge. I keep getting the warning saying, charging halfway, charging a third. Something's draining faster than it can charge, and and then I take it to them. They said, well, you need a whole new port. It's going bad, because you've charged it for 2.5, 3 years. And I'm like, well, how much is that going to cost? About $200. Never mind. I'll just use it till it dies on my drones. Disney
is an NFZ for sure.
Well, I'm not. I want to get stuff where I would rather get stuff where I'm hanging out with you guys and doing stuff with you guys, just like Ethan's saying. And Steve was telling me down there where he lives that it's legal to fly out over the beach. We can get out over the water.
Absolutely.
I'd really like to take that big mechanical shutter down there. Ooh, I really would.
I saw. I don't know. I don't think the image quality is like a little bit better on the Phantom than the Mavic 2 Pro, but not worth the headache in my opinion.
Because I just
I'm curious. I'm curious about something on this NFZ thing. Is that just a DJI only NFZ, or did the FAA? Oh, okay, so that's.
No, it's. Hold on, let me look real quick.
I'm just curious. Did the FAA give that whole area a no-fly zone, or what?
God,
that's a good question. Let me.
2:18 a.m. man. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with us crazy people. I know there's not a whole lot of people here tonight, but we always talk about a pretty good subject and bring up a lot of stuff during the night.
Yeah, I had to figure it could be the FAA because that goes back to that whole thing where you can fly a drone from outside a national park into it, but you can't launch from the park. So it seems like that would be really ineffective, except for DJI stuff, if they didn't get some sort of NFC from the FAA.
It's FAA.
Oh, it's FAA. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a red. It's a red circle.
Wow,
3 miles above and beyond Jones is saying that it's 3 miles, a 3 mile.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
Well,
it's huge.
I don't have.
So they thought ahead. They thought about it.
Okay, here's the thing. I've never been to California before. Just like Ethan pointed out, I'm taking a handheld camera in there from hell. So I'm not going to need to be able to overfly Disney because I'm going to have the Pro Max with me. So I'm not really worried about having a decent camera because I don't know how many roller coasters I'll actually stand in line to ride. And considering how old I am, I'm not sure if I won't throw up on the first one. So when I was younger, I used to love them, but it's probably been 6-7 years since I've been on one. And I'm not sure I won't get off and go, wow, honey, who gave me all the bourbon? So I'm not sure. I'll have to play that one by ear, but I'd love to go to some beaches and get some water splashing on some rocks and, get maybe some mountain views or something if I didn't have to drive too far, but I think I'd probably have to drive too far where I'm at right there. And just see the guys in general, especially to see Rick Halber actually hang out with you in person, Ethan. We'll just sneak John in in a box from China.
I'll bring the coronavirus to all you guys.
That's okay. I'm immune. I'm immune.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, that's very serious. Like we're like having emails about it and everything at the hospital and everything. It's no joke.
Oh no, I know. I know.
Here we go. I'm missing out. No, not really, Mel. We were just talking about the different things on it. Ethan was explaining that it's better if you want to get good slow motion action, to slow the shutter speed down, to mount it on a tripod. What else, Ethan? Kind of throw it back out there. He was like, did I miss 101?
No, ditch your ND filters.
Yes.
If you're using stabilization, get rid of the ND filter. You need to have the higher shutter speed to have to help the stabilization.
Cool.
Oh, so one thing about the coronavirus, Ethan, going back to that real quick. You probably will laugh at this, at least I think. I've seen some people Lysoling the boxes of their drone parts from China, and I just see that and I'm just like, come on, what? The virus is not going to be on a package that took a month to get to you. I mean, come on.
Yeah, supposedly they said this morning that the problem is that they said that supposedly it'll survive for 3 days on a surface.
Right.
And that's actually means the virus is very robust, and that makes it that much more dangerous.
Right, but there's no way it's going to there's no way it's going to survive on a package coming from the United States to China, because honestly, even with DHL, pretty much the fastest that a package can get here is like 4 or 5 days in my experience. Mm-hmm. So the virus is pretty much already dead by the time it gets here, let alone the super cheap shipping methods.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I would worry about that.
No, okay, I know. But I see some people Lysoling their packages, and I'm just like, come on, guys.
Well, now the bad thing is where their tracking techniques and all their formulations over there are so ridiculous. They don't even think now that it originated in that market. They think that it walked into that market first and spread from there. So we don't even know where patient 0 technically is now. He could have caught that virus somewhere else because the incubation period is up to 14 days.
Yeah,
Ethan, do you think that as we move toward a warmer climate that this virus might not spread as much? Like, does that make any sense? Like we saw that with SARS.
We need it colder.
No, we need to what? It needs to be colder.
Yeah, the warmer will make it spread like a damn raid. Man.
Oh, okay. Because I remember with SARS, it was a huge thing, and then as it warmed up, SARS sort of dissipated, if I remember right. I don't know.
Okay, back to drones. We need to get back to drones, and we're talking about this. Mel was asking about live streaming on the Osmo Action and how
you can't do it. As far as I know, you can't do it, and I wish you could. I thought they would add it by now, but unfortunately, I don't think you can still.
I don't expect them to because I think that we will probably in another, not anytime soon, but I'm figuring probably another 2 years, we'll see a new one of these, and it will be something that can just smack into it.
I tell you what, I am ready for the Mavic 2 Pro camera equivalent of one of these. Because I love the 10-bit on the Mavic 2 Pro so much that if I could put that on an FPV drone, I'd be so happy.
So you're saying that I should take the Mavic 2 and not the Mavic Mini and the Skydio?
Oh yeah, I would not take the Mavic Mini unless you had to, for whatever reason. Like if you're hiking or something like that and you need to be super lightweight, sure. Or if you're going to, in a country that you can bypass, skirt some walls with that thing. But if you're going to an awesome place, I would take, the best, most portable camera I got. That's just me.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. Since I'm going to be taking, and that's the biggest thing that I was wanting to talk about, since we had talked about our little, the biggest thing that I was wanting to know is using it from the action standpoint, and I'm using it as a lead-in to our show next week. How is it that you all use these? And John's already said he probably wouldn't do it, but Ethan, how do you use yours on your FPV drones?
I usually just use 4K 60 with Hypersmooth on, and put the shutter in auto and lock the ISO as low as it'll go. And I just let the shutter speed do its thing. I mean, I wouldn't prefer to do it that way just because the exposure is like all over the place. When you're trying to color grade, that's a nightmare. But
hey, I see Mel is saying that he's actually live streamed the image from the Osmo Action and Pocket.
Well, I'm assuming it's very similar to like what Bill was showing with the Mavic Mini, that it's going to be like a software app. But I'm not trying to say that I don't want to have you on, but we're probably like 15 minutes from getting off.
Yeah, it's almost an hour, right? Hours.
Yeah, but I hate that it's that way. But I was wanting to. The biggest thing is I didn't know how, and so we still basically haven't talked about it. Is turning it on. I still have issues with getting to all the proper menus. Like, okay, if I
will check out his video on how to do that. But as far as I know, though, it's not built into the camera, right? Like GoPro, because with GoPro, I know it's like ready to go. You don't have to do anything.
Can you do it?
No external apps or whatever. What?
Can you do it through the Mimo app when you're connected?
I don't know if Mimo supports it. I haven't seen it in there.
Well, then now I'm looking through the menus. Like I swiped right, and I've got you got auto white balance, and then you've got underwater auto white balance.
Yeah, I'm gonna check his video out after the show, so I can learn how to do it.
Okay, so and I can switch the color from normal to decine light, de-warp on or off. Formats, okay.
I keep de-warp off.
I think okay, actually I have it on.
But I mean, that's because I do a lot of post stuff. If you don't want to do any post stuff, put de-warp on.
No, that's okay. I would rather get, because I was really upset when I came back with that footage. Probably be better to do, let me do this to take it down here. So I'm going to go decine-like on the color, de-warp, I'm going to leave it, I'll leave it MP4. Although, how much more information do I get when it's an MOV file? And
None.
what more? None. That's because it's not any big difference.
Nope.
Okay, and then you've got auto manual settings for. I guess I'm assuming this is for pictures alone, or is this for in general? The settings up here.
So that you're on exposure settings.
Okay.
And you got it set to auto right now.
Yeah. I got that. So that's exposure. Cool.
So that'll give you the exposure index instead of being able to set a ISO. If you click it over to manual, it'll give you the ISO options and the shutter speed options.
Okay. So see, that's something else I was talking about. I really didn't know my way around the menus and such.
I do like how the Osmo Action boots up. It's probably the fastest booting camera I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I enjoy that. Back into the chat, I want to say, guy from Mel coming in. Marcus from Idaho. Rented lips.
That's the phone call, Bill. That means the hour. We are on the hour.
Yeah, we're on the hour, and we go into ramble mode. We're no longer on the subject matter. We go crazy, okay? But anyway, so I'm glad to have Marcus in the house. Marcus, glad to see you doing more stuff with the Skydio too. And again, I'm going to holler this one back out. Steve Carpenter, wherever you are. Rick, and now since I know Ethan's going to be out there too, we ought to figure out some way to hook up on. I'm going to be there for sure, and Steve's neck of the woods on April 4th. I possibly will not be doing a whole lot on April 5th. I don't know for sure yet. So I technically could do something around that area for a couple of days, or somebody could come get me and the family could go do their thing for a day. I don't know, but still we could fly a lot of drones, and it would be really cool to have like a West Coast meetup, and we could even print cheap Teespring t-shirts and sell to everybody for a nickel. Okay. Everybody's bored with me talking. I'm sorry. I guess I'll go get another monster. Be right back.
I tell you what, if any of you guys are in the market for an action camera, and you don't mind a different workflow altogether, and you don't mind post-processing, the Insta360 1R is definitely an option. It's starting to grow on me a lot better because now that I'm getting more accustomed to the workflow. But it definitely does a really bang up job, especially now that they've got the software all up to date. So
nice. That's good to hear that they're working on it and it continues to be more developed as well. That bothers me. Though I will say that, that whole added workflow and I guess the proprietary way they build the video files and you have to use their app and all, that stuff does bother me. It's really a turnoff of buying something like that. Because see, I'm the kind of guy that buys something like a camera like this, and then we'll keep the damn thing for 5+ years. So when I see stuff like that, I wonder, well, is it still going to work in 5 years? Is it still all going to work together in 5 years? Is that Adobe plugin that they have, for example, going to be up to date and working in 5 years? I worry about stuff like that.
Right. Well, one advantage of doing it the way that they do, where basically the camera is just recording the raw data and doing and just taking in data from the sensor and from the gyro, is that you can do a ton of extra post-processing in their app, where if you want it stabilized, or if you want a different field of view, or if you want a different, because you can add motion blur in and out. So say you're filming at some crazy high shutter speed and it looks very choppy when it's moving, you can add in motion blur and it looks smooth as butter. So that is and they can do all that within the software on the app, where they don't have to push firmware updates out to the camera. So
yeah, and I totally understand that, and that's why I think that in the future it would be great if they could have just a like a Pro Tune kind of thing, where you could just record it. It's going to give you a raw file, and you're not going to have to use any kind of external app or program to put it all together, but leave the option to do that for the power users who really want that fine-tuned control. Above and Beyond Jones just said that he has his Hero 1 and it still works too. I've got a Hero 4 Black, and from time to time I will still use that camera.
Yeah, the Hero 4
it's showing
Black
its age, but it's showing its age. It's got a problem. The battery won't stay charged. I'm guessing it's just shorted out or something. But yeah, I mean, these cameras are still good, and the Insta360 is not a cheap camera, right? I mean,
oh no. Well, I mean, I would say, because if you buy the twin, where they have the promotional deal where if you buy the 4K unit and the 360 camera, it's $460 or something like that.
Okay.
So it's comparable to like the Hero 8 Black, but you get a 360 camera too.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
Which the 360 camera, I think, looks really good. I mean, that's my first 360 camera I had, so I didn't really know what to expect, but it does a great job.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The video that I've seen you make with it, especially with Yoda and all that, that is just awesome footage. Great stuff. Like I said, I just worry when I see that a third party app or something is needed to make use of the footage or make use of any device, because I've bought things that, you know, in 2 or 3 years, the software is just not supported or something. Just, you know, the company just fizzes out, something happens, and then you're kind of stuck with a piece of hardware that.
Okay, I just want to say really quick, I see where Rick was explaining that it would be a 6-hour drive for him to come there, and so no, Rick, sorry, if you can get somebody else to drive you or something, that would be cool. But yeah, I understand totally why you wouldn't want to come up there. But you know, at least I thought it was cool since we would be in the area. I totally understand how that wouldn't work out. So, you know, that's all good. Let's see, and what all y'all talking about while I was gone? Let's see. Marcus was saying something about the histogram.
He uses histogram now.
Gotta go. Yeah, I got my old fart wheels too, but these are more for my spine than anything else.
I tell you what, the last time I flew with the Insta360 or Insta360 1R with the 4K unit on it, and I put it on the drone, I did set a manual shutter speed just to, you know, so the exposure wasn't all over the place. But the problem with that, so I had to set it on the ground where I made it look up at the sun. Then I looked down at the ground and I kind of picked an exposure that was in between, you know. And it made color grading that way easier because it wasn't dancing all over the place. But when you ever do a flip up to the sun or something, the whole thing, you know, just is overexposed. And then when you look down to or fly under the bushes or whatnot, you can't see anything. So it makes it easier to color grade to get the images look good, but you don't get all the details that you want, you know, like some of the clouds are blown out. You know?
Gotcha.
But until they make an action camera that's got a ton of dynamic range, that's what we're stuck with.
But they will, they will eventually.
So interesting. There's a camera out there that nobody talks about that is supposed to be the bomb, and that is the Sony R1 00. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't. Tell me about it.
Is it the R02? So the stabilization on it is crap, but it's got a 1-inch sensor and it's got some crazy, like awesome crystal clear lens on it. And the image quality out of that thing is awesome.
Wow.
And you can even focus. It's got some kind of focus in it too. And you can plug in an external recorder to it and get 10-bit 4K.
So this is an action camera similar to like,
yep.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
It's even got a flip up rear screen where the rear screen actually flips up so you can see it front facing. And it does it, but it's not a touch screen. It's actually got physical buttons on it. See if I can find it.
Interesting.
There's no other channel where you're going to get that kind of a good night.
What are you talking about? What are we talking about?
You didn't say, no. Lloyd's going to bed. Oh, and Curtis is here. But see, Courtney told him good night in a very special way. Oh, yeah, I can see that's where everybody's at.
Ken's, yeah.
But I have to admit, man, the title is actually kind of cool. But like I was we were talking because we were like, wow, normally we have more people. And then we realized that the original Dobo's streaming. he came out with drones are not one size fits all. And so in private chat, I'm sending this. This is from the guy that told all of us every time that DJI wasn't putting out a drone, fly the drones you have. But now he's saying one size doesn't fit all. And I'm like, you're in a conundrum here, young man. You were griping at us, telling us we didn't need to be excited and want a new drone. And now you're doing a stream saying one size does not fit all. But
well,
anyway.
I mean, I haven't seen the stream, so I don't know what he means by that. But
he sold his audio something, right?
I mean, if you're talking about like FPV versus camera bird, and you really do need quite a bit of different drones for different situations for sure. I mean, we've got the Cinewhoops now, so it's like.
Well, the thing about it is it's a constantly evolving field. And there's always going to be, that's why everybody waits and gets the new drone, because how many times I'll be having one of these sessions, we'll be saying, I would really love this drone if it had, and then the next drone comes out and it's got that.
Yeah.
And then, and then we're always wanting something else. We're always wanting something more. And that's why we're always buying that. And it's a lot better than going to the casino and dropping $4,000 and coming home and going, honey, where's the car?
Right.
So the funny thing is, I'm actually the anti-camera drone consumer, believe it or not. When a new one of those things come out, I really think to myself, how much better are my videos with my Mavic going to be or whatever if I buy that new drone? Or is it really going to make a difference for me if I buy that drone? And usually I find myself saying, no, it's pretty much not. If I go out and film something cool with my Mavic, people are gonna watch it. They're gonna love it, and it'll be fine. Like I don't need this new Autel Evo 2. Would it be cool? Yeah, it would be cool, but I don't need it.
Oh, they're okay.
So many people do buy all these camera birds and they never fly them. Or they fly them in their backyard, and then that's it. That's the only videos they ever get with
network.
them.
Right. One of the reasons
something to fly the drones you have.
Right. One of the reasons I've been hesitant on like building a Cinewhoop is because with the last updates that they put on the Paradinafi, I can get that same look with the Paradinafi, and it's easier to fly, especially getting close proximity like that. And the camera quality on the Anafi is still better than a GoPro.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how it's an old drone though. But look at how good it is. See, I was talking about this with some of my friends the other day, how in some ways the GPS camera drones, at least I feel, we may start. It seems like we may be getting to the point where, you know how the computer industry evolved, and there was a new computer every year, and the upgrades were significant. Now you kind of don't have to buy a new computer every year to get decent video footage from it. And I think we might be starting to go that way with drones. I mean, most people don't need an 8K camera. They don't.
Oh no.
That's just the truth. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like Above and Beyond Drones was saying 4K at 60 FPS with 100 Mbit is just fine. Personally, I'm more into HDR. That would be the biggest upgrade for me.
Now, what kind of HDR? The HDR
now, I'm pretty camera bird dumb. Okay, so just HDR that pops. Okay, so how's that?
It's like I told you, right out of the Skydio. I love the pictures that come right out of the Skydio. Like I saw something a minute ago that Mel was saying it's dangerous and unreliable, and having, I guess. That's something, I guess, and it's just me. This is just my opinion. I'm not shorting anybody on what their ideas are, but having flown really cheap, inexpensive toy drones and knowing how wonky and how they fly, the Skydio to me does not feel like an unreliable, unsafe drone. The Mavic Mini does not feel to me like a drone that can't handle wind, and it may be a result of flying these cheaper toy drones and understanding how they fly in the wind and stuff. But to me, I don't see that or feel that. And then I noticed that Rick was also saying that Skydio 2 came out with an update today, which I will be doing here momentarily, I guess. Simon Saucy, I saw you were in the chat earlier. I just wanted to tell you that I was checking out your channel, and I'm hitting the subscribe button. It looks like he's got a big Phantom 4 Pro. I don't know if it's a V 2.0 or not, but looks pretty nice. So
I see Rick is saying, he's like, I just want it, never have to have it. It's just the new bird syndrome. Yeah, I guess that's what some people get, right? It's a new bird syndrome. They got to have a new GPS bird. I'm not insulting anybody who wants, who gets excited about it, but
the reason I want the Evo 2, especially the Pro version with the with the shutter, with the aperture on it and everything, I need a unrestrained DJI alternative. And the Paradenofi's been taking that place for the time being, but it'd be nice to have something that's got the camera equivalent of the Mavic 2 Pro.
Yeah, see, that's an extremely compelling reason to buy it, but you're not buying it necessarily because of the hardware. You're buying it because it's unrestricted. That's a whole other aspect.
Well, no, I'm seeing that the Skydio 2 has more cinematic benefits than people have understood yet. The biggest thing that they're going to have to understand is that ridiculous acceleration that it pulls in order to catch up with its subject. And going into that, I think that's part of the Wi-Fi system, because I was okay, and I'm going to agree with people. This is not the best controller in the world. It reminds me of a toy controller with its connection. You get me? So, I mean, and if anybody has ever flown a toy drone understands, and it's a weird way to say it, when you've got the controller in your hand and you're flying it, you can feel when it's losing connection. I hate to say it that way because I don't know any other way to word it, but you kind of get this feeling for it not responding properly, getting out, and to pull it back in. And that's what I feel with this. That's what I feel
it's latency. So wow, that's interesting. So what you're telling me is with that controller, you literally feel that latency. If you get decently far out, or does that even? Oh, that happens in close range too. So you feel a noticeable latency from that controller.
No. Wait. I'm going to give you even more. At 70 feet in the air, I'm getting FPV lag in the feed.
Yeah, I think somebody said they thought it was due to like the antenna placement on the arms, and I would definitely agree with that.
I would agree with that too.
Because if you look, so it's the same remote as the Paradenofi, and so it's got the same or a similar, I would think, transmission system. The Anafi's got antennas on each leg, so I almost never get FPV breakup unless I'm like way out there, or I'm like something's blocking the line of sight.
Well, my area in particular, when I'm flying a DJI drone, I do occasionally will get similar breakup like this in the same area and everything, because apparently, I mean, there's like every house has Wi-Fi, So
there's a lot of 2.4 gigahertz congestion for sure.
Oh, yeah. That reminds me. That's a good tip for everybody that flies. If you take off and you're noticing that when you get out, 50 feet or 100 feet, or even right off the bat, go into the app and change your frequency settings.
Absolutely.
Yeah, get comfortable with that.
Okay, so
if you want to know how many people in your neighborhood are on the 2.4 band, you can download a Wi-Fi analyzer, and it'll really open your mind. There's a reason why my Wi-Fi is on 5.8, because the 2.4 congestion around here is ridiculous.
Yeah, get comfortable with that. Definitely look in that, especially with a Wi-Fi drone.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. And so if we get down there and we're out on the coast and a beach especially, hopefully I'll get some decent. But see, now the footage comes back awesome. Remember, I was showing you all a couple of clips here and there and some frames that I had pulled out of it.
The SD card is not going to be affected.
So, and like I said, straight off the card, I was just stunned at how it looked.
So that reminds me,
very rich and everything.
In the app that you're using with the Mavic Mini, does it have a spectrum analyzer in it like the DJI Go 4 app does?
Yeah, it doesn't have that.
I don't think so. Oh,
that stinks.
Because even the Paradenofi has that.
But okay, so now Rick was saying, I misunderstood Rick earlier. He was asking if there was an update for the Skydio today, and to be honest with you, I haven't hooked it up today, so I don't know. But I don't think so. I haven't heard anything. But where he was saying it was unreliable, I don't see that. It reminds me of a cheap GPS. It reminds me of a Bugs 2, man. I'll tell you straight up, it reminds me of a Bugs 2, the way it handles in the air, the way it reacts to the controller. But the pictures are 10 times better. You know?
But see, that's weird because Bugs 2, I've had the Bugs 2W, and I also have the Snaptane SP700, which is basically a Bugs 2 something clone, and I don't feel lag. I don't feel control lag. That's really strange that you feel that control lag, which kind of makes me wonder, is that control link actually going over Wi-Fi, or is it going over the 2.4 gig band? If it's going over a Wi-Fi protocol, that is really weird to me.
Well,
okay,
really the binding process itself is kind of odd. You just plug into the controller, and then you plug the controller into the bird, and that's how it binds. It's the same way you do it with the beacon. You simply plug because they have the USB 3.0 connection, and you just then you turn the controller on, you turn the drone on, and you wait for it to beep solid blue, and then you're done.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if that may be why you feel that lag though. I'm trying to think this out, 'cause I don't know how it works.
Yeah, it could be a setting in there too.
I don't think so much. I don't want to make it sound that way. I don't think that your understanding of my explanation is what I'm trying to get across.
Oh.
And what the hell is Courtney? Oh, wait a minute. Are you all? Never mind. I don't know. Does that tell you all anything? PSP, PSH?
No, I have no idea.
Okay. So just thought it was just me. And okay, well, we're back up to 16 again. Did Dono stop streaming?
So I was going to say, so as far as latency, right? And, I really didn't notice or understand what latency was when you're controlling drones in the FPV feed until I started flying FPV, where that really, really matters a lot. But now that I notice it more, I've noticed it in the camera drones, but there are ways to circumvent it. Like on the Paradinafi, I don't know if you can see my phone, but under settings where you can change all your flight settings, that top slider there, it's called global reactivity. And
what's that?
There's probably something like that on there. I've only flown it twice and I've barely looked at it because
that's basically the latency in your control link, in your control sticks. So if you crank it like all the way up, if you move the stick, it's moving the drone like instantly. If you crank it all the way down, there's almost like a delay built in. But I think it's to help you fly smoother for smoother shots.
Oh, well, okay, that makes sense. Maybe that's something. Maybe that's it. It's not actual Wi-Fi lag.
And on the on the Mavic 2 Pro with the DJI Go 4 app, if you go into the settings, like not the controller settings, but the FPV downlink settings, if you put it on like 1080p or like 720p instead of HD, you actually get less lag in the FPV feed. So I usually put it on that if I know I'm going to be flying really close to like trees or proximity, so I can like react to it quicker.
Gotcha.
Okay, something else I needed to go back to real quick. When I was busting on Ken Dono earlier, I didn't mean it in a bad way. I'm just because I personally will give Ken a hard time in Ken's Messenger if he does something crazy or whatever. But we're not here to send that kind of message. I don't want anybody to be confused. I was just kind of hacking to be hacking on Ken. I don't see any negativity towards any of my fellow drone pilots, and especially right now with all the crap going on that's trying to kick us out of the sky. This is the last time that any of us should be passing judgment on anybody else, because we need to be united and stay united in order to keep our skies. Otherwise, we're all just going to be, forgive me, pissing in the wind, because nobody's going to have a YouTube channel about drones. So it's ridiculous. It's petty. I myself, have a lot of health issues. I myself, have special things going on in my house, but I personally am here because of drones and only drones. So I don't want sympathy from somebody to come to my channel. I don't want you to feel sorry for me to come to my channel. I don't want you to feel like you have to contribute because you feel sorry for me. I just like drones. I like talking about drones. I like sharing it. I like to talk about drones with people. There's a lot of things that I don't know about drones, and that's why I have people on here. Sometimes from time to time, I don't exactly agree with people and their ideas. So I don't always have them on here, because I've had people on in the past that have been disrespectful to the channel and the show, and they wouldn't follow the simple rules that we had asked them when we brought them on. So as a precautionary measure, we are very strict about who all we try to bring on. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 or 4 weeks to get the people that we would like to have on, because they sometimes go back and forth about what they want to talk about and what they want to do. So I'm just saying that when you have a live stream, it's like coming into somebody's house, and you should be respectful in their house. And if they get upset with you and ask you to leave, you shouldn't hold it against them. And that's all I'm saying. But right now, I love every person that loves to fly drones. I love every person that's interested in flying drones, and I love every person that loves editing drone footage, because we need all these people involved now, because we've got until March 2nd to comment and get this through. You get me?
You see what Mel said?
Yeah, did you see what he said?
No, I missed it.
He says now he knows why you wouldn't bring him in. Good job, Bill.
Yep, good job.
Nice work.
Pastor Bill, preach, brother, preach.
Well, no, I'm not preaching. I saw an incident where an explosion happened on another channel, where somehow politics got blown out onto a drone channel. And I don't want to talk about politics, because all of us here have different political views, but we get together every week and we have no problems at all. So, and that's all I'm trying to say is I just fear that people aren't respectful of things like that. I love everybody coming here. I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just we try to keep that separate from this. So the Skydio controller blows. It needs more work on it. Like I said, it was like 70, 75 feet in the air, maybe. And it wasn't laggy. The controller was fine. Remember how you were talking about how it would drift? It wouldn't necessarily stop on a dime like most GPS birds, Ethan. That Rick Smith was mentioning how that would happen. So it's not like anything, horrible. I think it could be fixed maybe with firmware updates, but maybe it's going to need a modification.
Well, also, I think it also depends on what their Skydio's focus is for that drone. If they want it to be purely like mainly in follow me drone, like a follow drone, I don't think you're going to see them change anything.
Yep, I agree with Ethan. I think the controller is going to be more or less what you see is what you get. Look, we already kind of know back from talking to Kyle that the controller is a little bit of it seems like a little bit of an afterthought.
Well, it's clear that, they didn't even design their own controller.
They went to Parrot because, right.
But,
that says a lot.
Right. Yeah.
Oops, I just now looked at the private chat. So sorry, guys. I'm a little behind.
Just for everyone know, me and John are making fun of Bill in the private chat.
Bill, they're busting my balls, guys, like you wouldn't believe. See, what kills me is I don't want people to think I'm stepping on anybody's toes. I just hate, especially because I'm kind of an energetic guy, especially after I've had a monster or two. I don't want to get on the live stream and get into a bickering match with somebody over something. So we all get along. We've been together for a year now, and it's just we all try to keep things mellow. We've had a couple of instances where there's been awkward shows. There's been a couple of shows where we've had instances with guests that some of the panel members couldn't come on, and we all know that. So I'm just trying to avoid creating a situation like that. At some point in time, Mel, I tell you what, you can come on with me and maybe Curtis and Jim on a special edition on Saturday, like some craziness, and we can just let it fly. Because I really would like to do kind of a late night thing. kind of like Weekend Droned Update, like SNL, with a bunch of crazy people anyway. So maybe something like that would come off. But okay, back to the Skydio. My biggest thing is I think that it's a good camera drone.
Action camera drone.
Right.
No, I think it's got more cinematic qualities to it than people realize. I think can be a lot more done with it.
All right, that should be your project for the summer.
Well, if you're going to meet me down there and help me understand the settings with my old eyes, then maybe I can.
Well, I tell you what, this is why I always come back to the Paradenofi. I know everybody knows that I love the Paradenofi, which I do. The amount of stuff that you can do with that thing and in the ease of setting it up to do those things, that's one of the biggest reasons why I like it a lot. Just easy to set up. It's easy to get really great footage. It's just
there's a snowball's chance in hell that I'm talking to wife and let me buy another drone now.
You can get it. You can get one to you right now at $420.
Again, I say there's a snowball's chance in hell, because I mean, I remember I managed to get the Mavic Mini for Christmas,
right.
And then I also managed to get the Skydio 2 for quote unquote Valentine's Day. So,
I tell you what. If Evo could get their act together with software and features in their app, the original Evo would be freaking awesome drone.
So
the camera on it's really great.
So I need to go in and stalk Autel.
Yes.
Next Tuesday when I'm over there, walk in live streaming ahead of time and say, what's the holdup?
Right.
And the lady at the desk is going to go, do you have an appointment? You need to leave the premises. What's the holdup?
Right.
Sir, just leave.
But also I want to make a little note about the Mavic Mini, because a lot of people have been busted on me because I was trash talking the Mavic Mini there for a bit. But the biggest reason that I'm not a big fan of the Mavic Mini isn't because that I think it's a bad drone. I think it's perfect for the flight frame that it is. I think it's perfect. It fits a need. It fits certain people that need that drone. What I'm really upset that DJI, crippled the camera. That 2.7K.
Well, they've opened it up more recently. I was talking to Ron about it, and he was talking about how you could trick it into doing things. There's actually a manual setting on it now, to where you have control over at least two options. I can't remember exactly what they are because I haven't, but I was kind of stunned. You could actually change.
But let's even talk about the 4K aspect of it. They could have put 4K on that,
Oh yeah.
And let's even going back to the Spark, when the Spark came out and it only had 1080p. But back then, if you think about what the standard was back then, it was still the standard was 1080p, and you really didn't get 4K unless you had a high-end device, like a high-end drone or a high-end cell phone. Now every cell phone, even the base model cell phones, have 4K, and some of them have 4K 60. So that is the standard, almost future-proofing. And
but would you need a heavier processor or something that would need more cooling involved if we did 4K?
Put some more holes in it, make it lighter, do something.
Well, I'm just asking. I'm just spitballing as to why.
Probably.
Okay, obviously, then they're going to come out with a Mavic Air 2 with full-blown 4K at 60. We may even have a lithium-ion battery in it.
I don't think you're going to say 4K 60 on the Mavic Air.
Okay.
Because then you're stomping on the Mavic 2 Pro's stuff.
We're coming out with a Mavic 3 that's going to be shooting 6 and 8K, man.
Yeah, but you're not going to have a $1,000 camera that can have better features than a $1,500 camera.
Okay, well, there's Ron's saying the exposure is adjustable on the Mini, but I could swear there was 2 settings I could adjust.
Yeah, but I don't think you can adjust ISO or shutter speed. I think it's an exposure index.
Okay, but there's 2 settings I can adjust. I'm almost thinking it was exposure and ISO.
While you're filming?
No, not while you're filming. You can set it beforehand, but you have to do it beforehand anyway. That's the only way you can get into the manual settings is you have to set it and then take off.
See, Marcus said says 4K 60 is caused him to get order a new PC. I know I have a Mavic 2 Pro that is a 2016, so it's an older Mavic 2 Pro, and it is 4K video, no problem. But I'm also using Final Cut, so.
Yeah. What are you using to edit with, Marcus? What's Ron saying? Drone
Probably
Film God said, oh, whoa, what is this? Look at this. Drone Film God said 2.7 on the Mini looks almost better than the Mavic Case 4K.
Interesting.
Wait a minute. What's that for? Almost better? What the hell?
I'd be willing to debate that.
I'm like, wait a minute. Almost better. But it's not better. So how do you determine almost?
Yeah, because on the Mavic Air, you have like D-Cine like, and you get the different picture profiles that'll put out different. You can't base that on the natural coming out of the Mavic Air versus the natural coming out of the Mini.
Oh well, but I think the Mini has D-Cine like now. I thought. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'd be very surprised if it did.
I was thinking it did though. Anybody out there? Does it have? You're making me want to hook it up and see what comes up.
Celebrate. I just finally won an Amazon claim on that Meteor 65 piece of crap.
Oh, wow.
That Whoop. Oh, man, it's taken pretty much a month to get anywhere on that thing because Beta FPV just dragged their feet, man, on me being able to return that thing. They just dragged their feet hardcore. It got to the point that I had to get Amazon involved twice just to get this result because I guess they really just didn't want me to return it. I don't know what they were thinking, man.
No on the D-Cine.
But that Whoop was just bad. And what's sad is, Ethan, you know what they've done? Now there's a completely new version of that Whoop out with Jazz ESC firmware, a better canopy, better motors. It's like anyone who bought their first release is just got a piece of crap, honestly.
Right. So they just put the shitty one out to
Albert Kim just put on Instagram that he's got the new one from Beta FPV and he's going to have a review up in the next couple days. So when I saw that, I was just like, wow, really? I'm like, that makes me feel even better about returning it. But yeah, it took them ages to do anything. And now Amazon just helped me out and awarded me a claim against them for it. So thumbs down, Beta FPV.
So Ron,
probably never get it.
I like the Film Guides and Mini versus Air video. Okay, I'll check it out.
Okay, and we were if we need to check out, Marcus did a new video for the Skydio 2 over the canyon. And like I said, I still think that there's possibilities with the controller, and somebody down the road may come up with a modification, or for that matter, who knows, Skydio may come up with a Hubsan style modification to where you can put external antennas on the bad boy and it wouldn't affect the AI and its avoidance system. So who knows?
So I'm looking at Ron's comment. This made me remember a very valuable kind of like thought of anybody looking to buy a drone. If it's your first drone or like just looking to get a new drone in general, try before you buy it. If you got a few in mind that you'd like to look at, always try to get your hands on some raw footage from one of those drones, like straight off the SD card from somebody. Look around the internet, see if you can download the raw footage, not somebody's edited. You want the raw stuff off the SD card, because what kind of video editor you're using can, sometimes it can make certain footage look better than others. So, figure out what editor you're going to be using. If you're going to be using like Power Director or Adobe, Final Cut, DaVinci, whatever, see whatever, put that raw footage into that editor and then see what you can do with it. Because some footage does, some editors don't do well with certain footage. And it might be better with a cheaper drone.
Yeah, not to mention, depending on how old your computer is, getting that raw footage and putting it on there, you're going to be able to see right away, can my computer really handle this footage? Right. You're going to get the yes or no right away.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's like one of the reasons why I prefer the HLG profile on the Mavic 2 Pro is because Final Cut automatically recognizes it as 10-bit, and it automatically adjusts for it and compensates in it, and it just edits it like butter. The D-Log, which is technically...
okay, Ron, no offense. Mike's a nice guy and all, but I don't think I trust his mods. I'm not trying to be mean, but I just.
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about?
Sometimes it just scare me.
I don't know who we're talking about now.
All right, let's see. Wake up,
Ron Brown says, good news, John, about Amazon taking care of you. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Amazon. If you buy a drone from there, they're going to take care of you pretty much no matter what. And keep in mind, this was bought from a third-party seller as well. So they took care of me even though it was a third-party seller because they've got that A to Z guarantee. I got everything back. There was no restocking fee, no nothing because they just ignored me. They just ignored me. I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with that. I guess they thought that I wasn't going to actually return it. I don't know. I really didn't want to return it, but I did a whole video basically saying why I did. I'm not going to buy into their whole ecosystem when their stuff just doesn't work right, and I'm not going to be made to replace all this stuff and pay such a high premium for a Whoop that just didn't work right. So forget it. Maybe I'll revisit it. Maybe I'll revisit it at some point. But I'm really, really disappointed.
Okay, so I've got Okay, when you can go into the camera setting, and you can switch your ISOs. Let's see. What else do I have? And actually, wow, this is crazy. So look, here we go. I hope you can see this. So you can see, can you see the, oh hell, it went away.
Let me see.
See your ISO? See here, ISO.
Are you in photo mode or video?
Yeah, I'm in photo mode, but it seems to ride over. And then it's giving you actually the.
Switch over to video and see what happens.
Oh, no, it won't let you change it, but you have to come over here first to get it to kind of ride over, I guess. But maybe it was just that I know. Maybe like you said, I just noticed it was in photo mode and it really wasn't video mode. So it's absolutely no good.
Guys, it is almost 9:30 and I got to be getting going.
Yeah, I was going to say
that's perfectly cool. We've had a couple more people come in and here and there. Thank you everybody for showing up. We'll be. Wait a minute, did I miss somebody saying I have to roll? Yeah, everybody's got to go. So wait a minute, let me get back over here so I can say goodnight on this thing. So please join us next week. We're going to have old guy in a drone, Mitch. He's going to come on. We're going to talk about the FPV system. We're going to talk about the new Cadix system. We're going to talk about how you would use those, maybe some old AMA style plane flying and stuff. With that being said, I'm going to throw it over to Ethan to tell everybody good night first. Whoa.
Whoa. No.
Well, good night, fellas. Thanks for everyone. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Had a great time chatting with everybody. It's always great to talk with everybody this Wednesday nights. And hopefully some of you guys that are out there on the West Coast, I'll be able to meet up with in the very near future. With that, I will throw it over to John.
Thanks, Ethan. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Thanks for coming out. I hope we all learned a little bit more about this camera. We got some good Skydio 2 info tonight. Like I said, thanks guys for coming out. It's always a pleasure to chat with you here on Coast to Coast. And with that said, good night, guys. I'm gonna throw it to Bill so he can play us out.
All right. Thank you very much, folks. Sorry for the abrupt ending, but I didn't realize we'd just been jabbering along. We'd had a good time. Even though we didn't have a huge crowd tonight, please bring your friends next week. We're going to dive in a little bit more FPV. Please see you next week.